Edward is a very kind engine on the island of Sodor, and you can tell because he's a very smart engine, and he loves the island of Sodor, and he has lots of friends. And there was one engine who Edward didn't really like. It was obviously a tender engine because some engines on the island of Sodor are tender engines. And this tender engine was DJ. He teased Edward every single day because DJ is taller than Edward, because DJ has taller buffers than Edward, and he teases him because of his blue paint, and he teases him because of his blue dome, because DJ's is taller than Edward's, and this always makes Edward kinda sad. While one day Edward was even also puffing past by the docks, and Froome was even also racing past by the docks, and he went to St. Michael's School, and there he was at St. Michael's School. Then he saw a blue tender that looks like his or Gordon's. So he came in and he said this to someone. "Who are you? What's your name?" And then he saw his face, and he knew what it was. And then he knew who it is. And then he knew what it is. "DJ," he said, "what happened to you? I thought you were red." DJ used to be red, but today he has already had a paint accident because his body turned black and his tender has turned blue. And this made DJ really mean to him. "I'm almost blue as you, stupid engine. Ha 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 ha," he shouted and laughed, and he puffed away. Edward was so sad because of DJ, so he puffed in to find Thomas. Thomas is his friend, so Edward had a word with. So Edward decided to have a word with Thomas. Thomas, he said, "I've heard it all, Edward," said Thomas. "I heard that DJ was being mean to you." He said. "I know," said Edward. "Well, yeah, he's always bullying me. What do I do? Just ignore him," said Thomas. "Thanks," said Edward. "Besides, let's go back to the sheds. We don't want to keep him waiting." "We won't," said Thomas. And so both Thomas and Edward were ready to go back to the sheds. Later that night, they came back to the sheds. Later that night, Edward and Thomas came back to the sheds while Boko, Hero, and Rosie were having a confusing moment with DJ. "Oh," she said angrily, "I hate this shed. Why don't they? I hate this tall shed," he said, "because it doesn't give me so much strength to stretch my wheels," he said. "I'm going to go somewhere else." And so he went on the turntable, and also he puffed away feeling very annoyed. And as for you lot are not kind friends after all. And as for you, Edward, who even cares? You're still a tender engine. Doesn't matter if you're small. You're nothing but a greedy pig and an animal," he said. And with that, DJ puffed away, and this made Edward feel even worse now. At the next morning, the engines woke up while it was just DJ showing off, But just then, Edward was about to go. Edward was about to steam after him, and Edward was about to steam after him and teach him a lesson, but the Fat Controller already stopped him. And the Fat Controller stopped DJ when he said this to Edward. Edward, he said, I want you and DJ to pull the express together, he said. But sir, said Edward, can't I? But sir, said Edward, can't Bert do it? He's always this friendly to... But sir, said Edward, can't Deedle do it? He's always friends with him. No, Edward, he said. Thomas is busy, and I want you to do it with... Thomas is busy, and I want you to do it with DJ, he said. Fine, sir, said Edward. Then Edward puffed away to find DJ and the express. After that, Edward found the express, but he couldn't find DJ anywhere. When he arrived, he found DJ at the back of the express. I thought you were pushing me, he said. I'm normally push at the back. I'm normally at the back of the train, he said. That's what civilized engines are like. No, they're not, said Edward. Civilized engines are like pulling their goods trains and coaches at the front, not at the back, silly. Who even cares, said DJ. And with that, Edward was coupled up. Passengers were in there, and with that, he steamed away. But while they were about to reach up with time, DJ said this to Edward. Can we go any faster? He said. You can't, said old slow coach. That's how much I don't like it. Exactly, said Edward, and they all agreed. But DJ had enough. He bumped the coaches really hard, and they were beginning to go faster. Help! Help! Said Edward. I can't stop. He saw that Mike had broken down on the line. Edward shut his eyes. He nearly crashed into Mike, and luckily Skarloey was there to save him and moved him out of the way just in time to let the train go through. Phew, that was close, said Mike. Sure it is, mate, said Skarloey, and he had to agree. Well, while DJ was so naughty. Stop, said Edward. I'm not enjoying this. I like this, said DJ. Don't be scared. Stop this, said Edward angrily. And with that, after when the race was over, Edward and DJ finally reached the station, and they were stopped forever. While Billy puffed in and spoke to Edward. Edward, he said. How? Edward, he said. What? Edward, he said. What, Billy, said Edward. Mike told me what you did. How could you do this? It wasn't my fault, said Edward. It was DJ while he was banging the coaches. DJ, said Billy. How could you do such a thing? Well, I don't know, said Well, I don't know, said DJ. Indeed, you did do such a thing, said the Fat Controller. I'm sending you away. Huh? Said DJ. And you have been very naughty because both you, Edward, and the train nearly ran Mike over. I did not like this at all. Oh, said DJ. He was more foolish than ever and puffed away crossly. And with that, Edward was so happy that his problem was gone.